Alright, this is a more serious video. No hat. A lot of you know that most of my life I didn't trust God. I thought God was bad, just to put it bluntly, ever since I was a kid, So, I'm one of the few people, I think, that have tested God because I've had to. Is he legit? Is God legit in every area? You know what I'm saying? And for a while he passed, the suffering he matched. He matched me in suffering, impressively. When I was fully destroyed, basically. That was a long time ago. I tested his nobility, his loyalty, his honor, these different categories, his righteousness. His righteousness was questionable for a little bit there because of the Baptists. The Baptists did a corrupt election, and it made me question God's righteousness. But it's been even more confirmed that they did a corrupt election because one of their solid members left. You know what I'm saying? Because of, I'm like, so that confirmed they did a corrupt election without God's will, like they said it was God's will. It wasn't. So God's righteousness may still be intact. You know what I'm saying? But this is what the video's about. I've been testing God's authority since I was a kid to now. And this is the one area that God seems to fail. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to me against authority, God backs the authority against me. Even though I can see clearly with my own eyes. I can prove it. Corrupt judges, right in front of my face. God doesn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Just like with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? With Jesus, if Jesus was testing God, which he wasn't, if he was testing God, against the corrupt authorities, God would fail the authority test. Because the Bible says all authority comes from God. The authorities crucified Jesus. If Jesus was doing the test, he'd say, God, you failed the authority test. You failed miserably. But oh well. It's God's will. For whatever reason, I always lose against the authority. Even though the authority is clearly wicked, clearly corrupt. I got strangled as a kid. You know what I mean? I just got out of maximum security as an adult. You know what I'm saying? It's like my 9th time being locked up in my whole life. You know what I mean? Every time I'm up against the corrupt authority. God doesn't do anything. I'm just standing up for myself every time. Well, they just bury me. You know what I mean? That's why I'm preparing for my crucifixion up ahead by jury. You know what I'm saying? My God ain't gonna do nothing. Which I don't want him to. You know what I mean? Jesus got his crucifixion. That's what I want to. The wickedness on Jesus' day is still here today. Even worse. Even worse. I'm just like, let's take it all the way. Let him crucify me. You know what I'm saying? Everything I've done to, test the authorities is just, fakery. Provoking. Fakery. And they just come charging in at me. You know what I'm saying? Just the way I did as a kid. You know what I'm saying? They just attack me. Just like, whatever. You know what I mean? Let them do whatever. So, anyways. That's what this video is about. God fails the authority test. Every time. Every time. Who's the one that gets strangled? Me. Who's the one that gets put in 3 lock facilities, or they tried, in a row? You know what I'm saying? Who's the one that gets put to maximum security? Me. You know what I'm saying? God fails the authority. The authorities put me in there. All authority comes from God. So the authorities. See, God fails the authority test. He's not on my side. He's not when it comes to authority. I stand alone. Just like Jesus did. Just like Jesus did, against the authorities. It's an honor. I swear, this is one area, like, I wasn't sure how Jesus felt. You know what I mean? Going up against corrupt authority and losing, being accused of things and stuff just because they hated him. So, if this was what God wanted me to learn, I'm learning it, you know what I mean? Like, losing to corrupt authority like Jesus did. And there's nothing you can do about it except get whipped, spit on, locked up. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Just take it on the chin. You know what I mean? But yeah. So is that God failing the authority test by having the authorities take out Jesus and me? I don't know. No one knows God's will. But it's a confusing area. All authority comes from God. Submit to authority, the Bible says. But when the authorities are trying to take you out, what do? That's where I'm at. What do? They're obviously trying to take me out, you know what I mean? Corrupt judges, you name it. What do? Nothing you can do. You know what I mean? They have the authority, like, put them in that locked facility. Okay, they have the authority, nothing you can do. So, take them out and whip them. Take them out, have them walk to the crucifixion. You know what I'm saying? Nothing you can do, and that's what Jesus knew, too. Nothing you can do but just walk to the cross, So that's what we're doing. We're preparing to walk to our cross. Literally. So, but yeah. But it's okay. It's an area that I've always known, and I'm prepped for it. Maybe that's the point. I'm fully prepped against wicked authority for them to do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Call me names, call me, whatever. You know what I mean? Lock me in that facility. Lock me in that facility that you locked me up in years ago. Lock me up in that facility that you locked me up in years ago. They're like on repeat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I've already been here. Making the same projects that I made before. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I don't know. It's an area that I thought, maybe one day God would come through, choose my side over the authority. Choose yours truly over the authority just for once. Just for once. No matter, with all my tests, will God choose my side, even though God knows I'm doing trickery to test the authorities? Will God choose my side anyways? No. No. So we we're setting up for crucifixion, our crucifixion, just as Jesus did. You know what I'm saying? Nothing we can do. That's all I'll say for this video. It's a sad reality. And I think a lot of people know this reality. We can't win against the rigged system. We can't win. It's rigged. It is. I know it. Jesus knew it. But nothing we can do except get crucified. So that's what I'm doing. Get prepped. So, anyway. Nice knowing you. I'll see you later.